Welcome to Listen to Your Life. I'm Patricia Baldwin Segerbrook, and this creative practice is a way to jumpstart any stagnancy you've had in getting to the studio, to simply open yourself up to a new way to start painting, to start a painting, just a really refreshing way to connect your intuitive soul to the work you're putting out on the canvas. I'm going to start by showing you the tools I will use. These are in no way required. They are just what I have come to use when I do this practice. Any water-soluble materials, if you intend to continue with encaustic, that is, any water-soluble materials that will allow that encaustic paint to still adhere to that surface is what you want to start with. So for me, that is a very full gallon of encaustic gesso. I happen to be using R&F. I like the toothiness of it as a foundation paint, and I use it not to coat the entire surface and have a white surface, but rather as a carrier, as the carrier paint to which I add color. Now, sometimes I add dry pigments to tint that white, but today, because I'm on camera and I don't want to put my mask on, dry pigments, you always want to be protected, I'm going to use watercolors. Just an assortment of watercolors. These happen to be golden acrylic watercolors. Golden is the company, the manufacturer, and this is their watercolor line. That is my wet material. I keep it simple. I like to use 3 maximum colors. Even though the whole selection is there, I will choose 3 as we get going, and I'll walk everybody through that. And so that's my wet material. And then in terms of dry material, I'm using Inktense. So I have here my Inktense, what do they call them? Blocks. Inktense blocks, as well as my Inktense pencils. Now, if you are unfamiliar with this product, it's a Derwent product. That's the manufacturer. And they are similar to watercolor. They behave like a watercolor. In that when you bring water to them, they will wash away, extend, they become fluid, but they're ink, so it's a very vibrant color, much more vibrant than any watercolor you can get, and because it's an ink, it is permanent, unlike watercolor. So I really enjoy these as my dry material, and they put down some beautiful color first. And then the beauty of them being that water-soluble kind of material, when I come in with the wet material over them, some of their color pulls into that wet material. So the way these interact, the way the dry material and the wet material interact is really enlivening to me. It adds depth to even just this first primary layer that sets up for that layering effect that is so yummy with encaustic or any painting. Obviously you can continue on in acrylic or whatever you choose from this start. Other materials you can use. If you don't have encaustic gesso, you could just do the whole thing in a watercolor. You could use just charcoal as your dry material. You could use colored pencils as your dry material. I have used chalk paint. I've used rabbit skin glue tinted. Chalk paint, gouache, trying to think of the other paints that we all use. None are coming to mind. Of course, I've gone blank. But any of those water-soluble materials are beautiful to get started. So get your mind thinking, grab those tools, and then pause the video, come on back, and we'll get going at this together. What we will run through in this is the way I like to start in order to fully let my body engage with the space of the intuition. I need to get my brain out of the way. So I begin the process by choosing those 3 colors from my wet and dry material. And I start with a thought bubble, as I call it, which is a quote. This gives my brain something to chew on. Keep it busy, let it know we appreciate it and it's there and we're acknowledging it, but we're gonna kind of ignore it for a while. We're not gonna get into composition and color play and, you know, highs and lows and tones and all of that. All of that comes in later. Right now, we're just going to give that brain something to think about, something to chew on, and then sink down into our gut space, our intuition, and respond from there. So we'll start with a thought bubble. We'll move into a little body movement to get warmed up, and then we'll go to those paints, choose the colors, and start going. I'm going to switch the camera view so that y'all can see over the canvas, and we'll get started. All right, that quote I promised you. This is Frederick Buchner from the very phrase I get this workshop title from. Listen to your life. See it for the fathomless mystery it is. In the boredom and pain of it, no less than in the excitement and gladness. Touch, taste, smell your way to the holy and hidden heart of it. Because in the last analysis, all moments are key moments, and life itself is grace. Listen to your life. So we begin. My first surface, and I encourage you all to do this as well, is large. Now, when I say surface or canvas, I'm referring to a generic term, which is whatever I'm choosing to paint on. In this case, it's a raw birch panel, a cradled birch panel. I love to paint on cardboard, really cost effective, especially when you're going into something new like this and you don't want to, quote unquote, waste or ruin a more expensive board. Go to your cardboard. I've also used watercolor paper, found boards, anything that you can find that resonates with you, put it out in front of you. Something, that is large for you. For me, this piece today is what I have on hand, and it is the 36 by 24 by 36, something like that. From here, after we start this practice, we'll move into smaller pieces and work them in series. So 2 steps here, large and group of small. We start large because we want to engage that whole body. We've got the brain thinking now. We've got the brain doing its exercise. We have the thinking mind going to work for us, staying busy, feeling the feels of that beautiful quote from Frederick Buchner. It is busy listening to our life. And now we stand. Listen to the sounds that are beyond the immediate space. For me, that's a little bit of the hum of tires on the road out front and the singing of the birds. I can feel my feet firmly planted on the ground. Feel it yourself. Imagine those feet, not just firmly planted, but actually connected, rooted to this space you're in. Home, studio, neighborhood, city, and of course, earth. It's empowering. It's uplifting. From my feet, I feel the solidity of my legs, like the trunks of a tree, holding me, yet allowing flexibility, holding me firm to this place that is mine on the earth, but allowing movement and flexibility as the world changes, as my environment changes. I'm here, but I can respond. And just up from there, that originator of creative, ingenue, the intuition lies in the gut. Some people feel it in the solar plexus or the heart, wherever it is for you, in that core space. Connect to it. Feel yourself engaging. Feel your body enlivening. For me, that's bringing a smile to my face. That's bringing joy and a little bit vibrancy, picking up the pace of my blood pressure, if you will. Heartbeat, there we go. Because I know what's coming. Movement is coming. Color is coming. Excitement in the anticipation. So very briefly, take a deep breath and stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Bring them down to your heart. And again, stretch them up to the sky. And bring them down to your heart. And once more, the shoulders beginning to flex and move. Ready for the activity we're going to engage them with. I've got my fluid whites and caustic gesso in my case in a smaller container. I have my watercolors before me. And right on top is a purple violet. I'm going to choose that. Choosing 3, and that green grabs my attention. And finally, all right, I'll go with that yellow. Those are my 3 that just instinctively I grab, and I will use yellow, purple, green. My wet material. Set them aside and step into the dry. Choosing 3. Again, do they need to be the same 3? Not necessarily, but of course we know they would play well together. I am choosing green, I am choosing purple, and I am going to choose this yellow but really green. And if the pencils need to come into play, they're here as well. I can set them aside, pick them out. And just in case, I also have a bit of medium soft charcoal and a graphite pencil. Bring in some black. Another deep breath as I prepare. After choosing those colors where the mind came in a little bit, I say thank you and I sink back down to the creative inspiration of my intuitive center and begin. Just play it out. Just respond to what sings as you glance off at the tools you've chosen. Don't ask why. That isn't an important question at the moment. Just respond. Scribble, scratch, rub, draw, write. Create verse and line, why not? Remind yourself, your hands are the best tools in your toolbox. And you didn't pay a thing for them. They were given to you freely, generously, for you to put to use. So put them to use. Rub, smear, play. Play. and to paint. Let's see what comes. If inhibition steps in, that's your mind trying to tell you. You must listen to it because it knows. Well, thank you. Thank you, mind, that you have learned and you have educated and you have wizened me so over the years. Thank you. And I'm going to play for a moment. Your turn will come again, but not yet. The scratch of the brush. It's telling a story. Might not know what it is yet. Might not be in a language you've learned yet. But it is telling a story. It could be a story that you may never fully understand, but that someday somebody comes along and sees this painting and the language is so clear and resonant to them. You may be in the process of telling a story that is being told for somebody else. How lucky are you? How beautiful is that? See, feel, touch, appreciate the delight of these materials working together. Those Inktense colors popping through this white, working their way up from the surface. Make noise. Do I want more color? Yes, I want more color. Where do I want more color? Where do we go? Where do we go? Gut, what do you think? Right here? Right here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. More? Okay, more it is. More. Here. Yes. The beauty of painting this way, not only is in the fact of calling back that connection with your intuitive play, with the childlike wonder even, but it is also, for those of you who are new to such a way, it also is a safe way to start, safe way to play, safe way to investigate, because everything you do here can become something else. You are not locked to this start by any means. It can respond to something painted over it. It can respond and change if you so choose. I do love that color. little loose whites. Just was feeling it, so I'm bringing it back in. And that's it too. It's what I'm feeling, not what I'm stepping back and assessing with my experience, that brain that has all the knowledge. It's just what I'm feeling. That stepping back will happen soon enough. There we go. Just a hint of green. Charcoal. Letting it have a word. So I'm bringing back in some drawing material. But I'm not sure I've done this before. But again, just feeling and responding. Usually I'm all drawing material, then wet material, then I stop. But let's see what we got here. My senses just said stop before it's too late. Not sure what that means, but I'm going to stop. There is no too late. All right. Soften a few edges with paper towel. Why? Because I can. Because it feels good. Nothing, yet something. Now it's the hard part. Step back, prop it up, love it, listen to it, watch it, spend time with it, turn it, take pictures of it. And only when you're ready, only when it speaks to you again, then go back in. Then start where it tells you to start. You don't have to see the end. You don't have to see 3 steps in. Start where it asks you to start. This piece here began this way. The underpainting, which we just did, then led to collage pieces, tissue paper-like pieces, markers, more charcoal rubbing, and then shapes started to appear. So with charcoal and very thin layers of wax, and not wax everywhere, it became what it is. Pan pastel, spray paint, charcoal, encaustic, collage, gesso, it's all in there. Now, I'm going to clear this away and start in on the smalls. This is watercolor paper that I tore into this smaller rectangle size. I have 5 You choose a number that works for you. 5 is just where I've landed. Give you some vertigo here. And for this, we've gone big. We've opened up. We've expanded and engaged our entire body, working with whole arm movement, even into our chest and hips, putting those paints and dry materials down. Now, I'm pulling in a chair. I'm drawing in close. I'm asking a quieter place in my gut, where it wants to be, where it wants to go, what it wants to play with. Same process. Dry materials, then into wet materials. This time, working across a series to see how an evolution occurs, to see how connecting with this tighter, if you will, this more centered, smaller, enclosed space, seeing how it evolves over a series. And we're just listening to that gut space. We're not going into head space. And I've got purple first. Sometimes I like one shot of color, and this looks to be one of those times. Just one shot of color here and there and here and there. Charcoal. And the hands. Yes, the hands, always engaging. Let the surprises happen. I didn't know that there was a charcoal bit that was going to drag through that paint. I'll let it happen. something else, something more, still calls. What shall it be? Green? Have I got green needing to come in? Got my dry material once again, that Inktense. I'm just feeling it, that's all. And I stop. I stop. I'm going to overplay it if I don't, and I just want to touch down on a start. That's all I'm here for. Now you can stand back and look. Now you can contemplate and question and appreciate. Now you can move them around and reconsider. Now you can bring the brain in for a little dance with the intuition. These are similar pieces that were done on board not long ago. I'll move these for y'all. Different colors, different movements, different expression, different flow because of the different surface. Still contemplating, still questioning, still speaking, still responding, ready for some new action, ready for the next layer, ready for the next intuitive direction. But first, always listening to them. Listening to my life. Listening to your life. Resonate through what you're doing. Another day, my emotions, my energetic body, the very atmosphere I'm in will be completely different. And therefore, how these speak to me and how I respond will be entirely different. And I wait for that. Because as each layer is added, new energy is added, new expression is added, and a new part of my life, of that listening, is layered into these pieces. All right, this has been Listen to Your Life. A quick little shot, quick little practice for you to use over and over again, however it suits you, to get you connected to that creative core, to that intuitive space that is yours and yours alone. So unique, so precious, and so necessary as an expression in the world. Some of you, maybe this will just serve, and by just I don't mean a minimizing, but simply serve as an engagement that carries you into the rest of your day, where creativity of this sort doesn't exist at all. More power to you. It needs to be there too. Nobody else might see it. Nobody will know that the new smile on your face, the new pause of consideration before you speak, has all come from this morning practice, this creative expression, listening to your life, that is feeding into all of your activities, all of your resonances, and all of your reactions. For those of you who will continue here, who spend your time in studio and create, these, your paintings, will begin to resonate more so, even if they already hold so much of your lifeblood, even more so resonate with the heartbeat of your life. And then those people who vibrate and understand the language you use, they will find you. Thank you for coming along for this practice of listening to your life. There are more. There's a deeper dive into it that I take in day-long and week-long retreats. And hopefully, soon, we'll be taking on retreats around the world. Look forward to that. Keep in touch. Follow me on my website, pbsartist.com. And of course, on social media. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm pretty sure both as PBS Artist or Patricia Baldwin Segerbrook. Thanks. Enjoy your play.